Are the big two publishers about to trim down the line to reduce the number of titles they sell every month? Well, a lot of people would like that to happen, and it is probably a good idea, but let's talk about the consequences of it. Hey there, this is Perch, and talking about slimming down the line. So, to give you a big sense of the thing, DC had the new 52 that they stuck with for a long time. When I say that, I shouldn't have said the 52. Basically, the idea that they're going to publish 52 titles a month. That was going to be their lineup. And I'd love to get the behind the scenes. I'll never get it. None of us will ever get it. But I'd love to get the behind the scenes if they're kind of marketing and publishing division got together and said, hey, how many titles can we reasonably ship out of here a month? What's the budget look like? And accounting comes back like, oh, somewhere between 50 and 55, kind of right in there. And then, they're like, oh, okay, what should those titles be? And they're chatting around. And suddenly some guy's like, if you ever seen the Hudsucker proxy, it's like the one marketing guy stands up, guys, I got it. I got it. And I have a feeling that's how the 52, like, there's 52 weeks. We'll make 52 comics. It's perfect. It's the number for us. And there's some other guy in the room like, 42 is the answer to life, the universe, and everything. And the guy's like, oh, shut up, nerd. And then they went with 52. I think that's kind of how it went. But anyway, DC went with that. Marvel went with as many comics as we can cram out the door. Like, I'm still convinced, like, like if you held a gun to somebody at Marvel's head and said, how many titles are you shipping every month? Like, nobody knows. They're just, it's like the lines are all just flying out the door randomly in all different directions. And it's like, what did we publish this? I say this because I've been to cons and I've talked to some folks and I've said, hey, what about this title? Is it a limited series or ongoing or kind of what? And I'm not saying it like as a trap kind of jokey statement, but a legitimate like, hey, what's going on with this book? And the person gives me this blank stare like, the what? The what book? Did we publish that? Oh, I just I get the feeling like there's just nobody's talking to each other. And man, if you say that, for whatever reason, there's a handful of people at Marvel. Tom Brevoort is one of them. He will find, like, you don't tag him. He will find his way into that thread and then just get pissed and like, we read everything and coordinate. It will all make sense if you actually read all the comics. It's like, okay, I'll call your bluff there, pal. I'm reading all the comics. They do not all make sense. I'm going to call a big BS that you guys are coordinating all these books together because you're not. The latest one I had posted about this, the Maker appearing in Absolute Carnage and the Future Foundation in the same week. And the character's drawn different, is a different age, is got different motivations. The one in Absolute Carnage has been on Earth for a while, making some stuff. And in in Future Foundation, he's younger. He's got like a little prison gang that's attached to him. He's behaving differently. I mean, it's completely different. But there's old Tom like, no. If you just read all the comics, it'll all make sense by issue 2 and 3. It's like, you know what? No, it will not. I'm just gonna say you are wrong, sir. And it's like, oh, that's just a matter. Eventually, if you argue with him enough, he'll get to that's just a matter of opinion. I guess your opinion is just different than mine. Me, the guy who works in the industry and is in charge of all these comics, and you and nobody, but we just may have different opinions. Like, hey, you're a class act, man, class. But anyway, how many titles is too many titles? Well, there's been a lot of discussion that both companies, Marvel and DC, are going to trim down their line, and certainly, when one company's shooting stuff out the door and they don't even know what they're shooting out the door, and the other one is struggling to fill the pages of 52 books, let alone 50 or 48, then yeah, it's time to slim down the line. It's time to put some focus on things, to consolidate, if you will. It absolutely is that time. But how far to go? So the challenge is there's not a magic number. If DC said we're going to produce 5 comics a week, that's 20 to 25 comics a month. That's not enough? I'll tell you, for stores, that's not enough. For DC, I mean, if all those comics are amazing, then that's probably great. But I mean, think about that for a moment. Like, imagine just 5 comics a week. On one hand, you look at that and you go, well, that's that at $3.99 a pop, that's $20 if you're buying everything. That's adding up to, $80 to $100 a month. That's actually a lot of cash. On the other hand, it's like, wow, only 25 books a month. That's not nearly enough for anything. That's terrible. Um, so what is that number? And the other problem is if you cut back the books that are sold, then yeah, there's less stuff to put on the shelves. The comic shop is forced increasingly to become a shop that deals in other things and also has comics, but not a comic shop anymore. It's just not enough volume of content, going through the store. It's weird because on one hand, if you want to sell, you don't want to have just stuff on the shelves, and you don't want to have stuff for sale that's just pointless nonsense. But on the other hand, it's like, where's that line of titles to sell and what to do? And I think it's really tough. That's a really tough kind of decision to make. I do think that the company should trim back. Like I said, I think they're publishing too much. I think they should trim back titles to the point where it feels like every title they're publishing actually has a point. So if they're publishing away, they're making comics, and they're like, I don't know what the point of this comic is. All right, you're doing too many, so then back away. But on the other hand, I think you look at this situation and you say, if you've got product that's not selling at the level it should, that the marketing is really bad, and the art quality, and a lot of people argue with me to no end, especially online over this, but the art quality I think is noticeably worse, and not across the board. People always like to throw up like, I think the art quality is diminished, and then they're like, well, look at Absolute Carnage with, and you're like, yes, that title looks beautiful. Look at Pepe Larraz on the House of X books. That is beautiful. That stuff looks amazing. Those guys are doing a great job, and there are plenty of good artists at Marvel and at DC. There absolutely are. But there's also a lot of kind of fill-in, kind of goofy artwork that looks like it was either really rushed or it was outsourced. And you open it up, and it's like this talent that you've never heard of before, and a year later, you've never heard of it. This talent is gone, and it's like, what are you supposed to do there as a company and as a buyer? It's they're needing to fill pages because they're producing so many books that they've got artists on there that are just feel like kind of outsourced people that just come and go. And I would think, I just want to see one of the publishers. It will never happen, but I want to see somebody take stock and stand up and say, you know what, we are proud of our company. We're proud of the comics we make. We're proud of what we produce. We think we are a great generator of amazing characters and amazing stories. That's what we are. It's who we are, and we're proud. We're not gonna hide that. At the same time, yeah, we've cut some corners, and yeah, we've hired some people that aren't optimal, and that's true too. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna try and work really hard to improve our line and get other artists on there and publish the best quality we can. And that means we're going to be publishing a few less books, but you're going to feel really confident that every book we publish is going to be top. And I think I'd love to hear that. Again, it doesn't fit, but that's what I'd love to hear. Anyway, that's my perspective on it. Too many? Yeah, probably too many. Cut drastically back? Well, probably no, because if you're cutting drastically back because you don't have the quality to publish, say, 40 books a month, then maybe rather than cutting those books, you need to up your quality. Like what problem are we trying to solve here? That's what I think. So leave me a comment below and let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, click the bell for notifications. Follow me on Twitter at Comic Perch, and thank you for listening.